Hello and welcome to day 3 of my little journal of my time in the ancient forest at the end of last year. If you haven't seen day 1 or day 2, I'll get a bit of context so you can find them on the channel. But yeah, day 3, I've just had a bit of that Amazonic cacao that I was talking about as well, so my heart's all nice and open and calm. We're ready to delve into this little therapeutic little thing I'm doing. Oh, and no, I don't think this is the right name, but I've also got a glass of Sticky Willy. Probably not the right name of the plant, but yeah, my new friend Ashley Foku. Hey Ash, how you doing? She got me to make a little tincture of this, so I'm just drinking a bit of Sticky Willy. Tastes lovely. Right, so we're on day 3, aren't we? So without further ado, we've got this is a very English weather forecast for you. So we've got an hour at the sun, an hour at the partly cloudy, and an hour at the rain. So I had every type of weather. This was Saturday, the 1st of November 2025. As I was about to write about the events of today, the pen fell into the realm. All things we require fall into at the moment we're about to use them. After minutes of faffing about, I proceeded to knock my much deserved cup of chamomile tea onto the floor, brackets, my new carpet, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, and one of the blankets, much needed for warmth. So typical me, especially in that moment, all my nervous system's sensitized and things are popping off. I'm just causing chaos. Of course, the pen was in plain sight, seconds after I'd cleaned up the chamomile carnage. ... Sigh. I woke just before 9 today to the first sight of sun since I got here. Rejoicing in this rare opportunity for adventure, I decided to stroll through the trees that had been watching over me so dutifully. It was splendid to witness the solar rays sneaking through the gaps of the towering trees as I took my first crap outside. My journal, remember. Oversharing. Does the mic shit in the woods? ... Undoubtedly yes, was the answer. This was in the journal, so again, using humour to get myself through some of these moments. After my second call to nature, I suddenly got an overwhelming rush of dread and panic. Familiar. How dare I be happy and enjoying myself in the woods? I returned to presence and breathed until calmness soothed my nerves. Brackets. Nice one, Krishna. Then I noticed a clear stream trickling by a bit further on. My chance for a bath, I thought joyfully, yet not without a tad bit of apprehension. It is a fucking chilly November morning after all. 3 more exclamation marks. Yet, he who dares reaps the highest rewards. It was liberating, cleansing, bloody freezing, and just what I needed. Don't know if you've ever done the cold water dipping, but when you get through that initial juxtaposition of warm to fuck, it really starts to like balance out. The homeostasis takes over, and then afterwards you just feel like, so yeah, cold shower. Showers are harder because it's like intermittent. I prefer the submersion. All right, I hollered, screaming and shivered my timbers back to the van. I cooked a well-earned meal of pumpkin and almond, Asian Hokkaido-style falafels, with some balsamic fried tomatoes and red onion, and a slice of sourdough bread. Tasty. I've got a little face with ... smile and a tongue out, so I definitely remember enjoying that one. With it being clear for the first time, I decided to drive to the originally planned first location. Again, unease and massive discomfort accompanied me as I drove. Huge signs of a sensitized nervous system. It makes so much sense now. Great ... Another sigh ... 9 minutes to my destination, and I was greeted by a sign saying, "Keep out. No unauthorised vehicles allowed." Fuck it. Location number 2 it is ... Another sigh ... The joy at seeing that it was only 2 minutes from where I was turned into dismay, as it was leading me to a dead end, where 2 houses waited for me. Luckily, one of the gentlemen showed up. Luckily, one of the gentlemen showed me the secret hidden spot to the left where I could turn my gargantuan van around. I remember that. I got to it and I was just like, oh, fuck. All my anxiety, my whole body was just full of panic. And it's not really that big a deal, but that's a big ass van that I've got. It's like a big Ford Luton Transit van, one of them removal vans. So it's like, how am I going to turn this around? And I've got reverse for like at least half an hour. Like, oh my God. But luckily the gentleman showed me that secret little left bit and it wasn't as bad. Another fuck it, as I decided to drive back to the keep out sign and park the van up just to the left of it. Even though the van was leaning more than slightly to the left, I remember that. It was that way as it was slightly going off. I was happy that I didn't have to drive more. The sun was almost in bed, so I decided to stroll past the sign with a big middle finger defiantly waving. Don't like being told what to do. I have a very rebellious nature. Yet my bravado was short-lived, as the moon and a solemn shadow replaced the sun and blue skies. Countless trees have the tendency to unsettle a man who enjoys wide open spaces, where I can see my enemies from a distance. Put that in brackets. I'm called Mr. Hill. I like a nice vantage point where I can see everything that's going on. It wasn't helped by the fact that I almost fell to my demise as I stepped upon I remember that. Yeah. So it didn't help that I almost fell to my demise as I stepped upon a huge log before it gave way, nearly taking me with it. So I'm almost dead already because it was just this massive drop. And I'm like already a bit like on edge, to say the least. Heart in my throat, I decided to go under the fallen tree, blocking the path instead. My fear-riddled mind now conjuring all manner of dark entities and beasts waiting to devour me in behind the now menacing trees. I am a writer, so my mind has a tendency. I'm from Manchester Streets, man. I'm not really arsed about that dude just turning up. I go to like demons and ghosts and ghouls and all manner of scary shit, basically. But, and that was in capitals, ... This is a trip into manhood, and men don't run from shadows. I made it to the end of the path triumphantly, before trotting at a nice pace with my manly tail between my legs. Now safe from the monsters of my mind, back at the van, I made myself a victory cacao. Amazonic finest. And then, I didn't put that, I'm just being a weirdo. And then read some more of the quickly becoming a new favourite book, the Bhagavad Gita. I see the innocence in little Michael right here. But that's the healing journey, innit? Like, you've got to accept you're not what you think you are. Well, that's your egoic systems which keep you alive. So all your survival shit goes off when you start realising, oh, I'm not a name. Oh, I'm not a body. Oh, I'm not those roles. But what am I? I'm not safe anymore. It is unknown. Anyway, after more wisdom from Krishna, I made myself an omelette with beans. I chose to open the side door as I ate to let the mounting I chose to open the side door as I ate to let the mounting condensation out. This becomes a fucking annoying thing after a while. Dripping all over me. I should have got a vent for the van earlier. Looking out into the void of darkness, where all manner of foes awaited, I chose again to bring in Brahman, divine presence. Parts of myself began speaking aloud to me. Remember the IFS? I'm not crazy, I promise. A little bit. Not too much. They felt demented and warped. They asked for me to set them free finally, for they had been trapped for years through delusional fears of mine. Energy that longed for peace. I think that's all it is. We have energy passing through us. We don't like the sensation that's created as a result of that particular vibration. So we block it. Well, where the fuck's it going then? Like when you stand on the end of a hose, where is that water going? It's got to get stuck and then the hose starts to stretch. Well, we're a hose with nerve endings. So when we stop the flow of matter and energy, we've got nowhere else to go. It becomes very uncomfortable because that's not how we're meant to be. We're meant to just realise we're the divine presence that can let all energy pass through. And then it starts becoming an archetype within the mind. The mind makes sense of the energy, and these are the parts that come up. So Those parts had asked me to set them free finally, for they'd been trapped for years through delusional fears of mine, energy that longed for peace. Peace to go where it came from, into the nothing. I chose to be brave and grant it to them. I smiled with love as my mind conjured numerous images of ghosts wanting to reach out from the darkness. Yet I remembered Lord Krishna's advice from earlier and bowed my head. If my life was to be sacrificed, so be it. Wow, you can see how dramatic I am. But that's how it felt. It felt proper real. Like, it felt like monsters were 100% there. Like, my nervous system was just gone. I saw those parts dissolved within me with a peaceful smile, which reminded me of the king under the mountain as Aragorn freed his soul after they had fulfilled their oath. If you've not seen Lord of the Rings, the extended cut, sort your head out. It's the best 3 films ever made. Go watch the extended ones, which is the only way to watch Lord of the Rings, and come back to them. So Aragorn freed his soul, and basically the guy just like, when he finally gets released, it's like, ah. And I imagine that's what the parts of you that finally can be just freed and go wherever they needed to go. The energy gets to go home finally. Then, seconds after I faced my demons and closed the door, the rain began once more, which felt mysteriously fitting. Yeah, it was strange. It was like the second I closed that door after facing my fears, facing all this stuff, and my mind's got my nervous system telling it we're in absolute imminent danger, we're going to die, and then it's coming up with the best it can. Well, there is no danger, so it's having to come up with stuff from the mind. I don't know if you ever do that, but my mind is very inventive, which is great when I'm writing my stories and my journeys. Not so great when I'm sat in a dark forest on my own, like fucking 10 o'clock at night. But I sat with it, because when I faced it, that was the point of the trip. I smiled, let it all go, and then the rain began once more. Final thought is one, it felt really lovely looking at photos of me and Dad earlier. So my mum had made me a book. So my dad has passed, I don't know if I mentioned that, but yeah, lost my dad about 6 and a bit years ago now. Too long. And my mum had made this book of loads of us when I was a kid. Because it's weird, man. My dad, yeah, he always was recording all the time. He loved taking photos, loved taking videos, but then that meant that he wasn't in them. I only had one video of my dad, and it was the last time I ever met him. And he's just had a few beers, and he's trying to play the guitar, which is fucking out of tune, and singing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds by the Beatles. Beautiful, because that's pretty much him summed up that. And these photos, well, there's loads of them, and there's one where I'm a little baby just lying on his chest, and there's one where he's showing me stuff and we're playing, and you can see his silliness in the facial expressions. Anyway, give you a bit of an insight. So, final thought is one, it felt really lovely looking at the photos of me and Dad earlier. And also my mind comes back to Jules and a longing to be in her company. She's very soothing. If you're watching this, Jules, you really are appreciated. Her beautiful soul keeps smiling to me like a comfort blanket. Another life, Jules. Another life. And a nice black love heart. So yeah, I have a lot of love for Jules. She's like I said, we'll get there towards the end, but she becomes a very big hero for me. It's good to have friends like that. And yeah, that's day 3. So it starts getting a lot longer. These are all just getting you into it, you know. Harry Potter, the Philosopher's Stone, will keep it chill. Chamber of Secrets, and all of a sudden you're fucking fighting dragons and Lord Voldemort's back. Anyway, enough nerding out for you. So yeah, that's day 3. I remember it going a bit Pete Tong from here. That was quite an alright one. It's weird looking back at it, like in my mind, because it was very traumatic. It gets real deep. I'm talking like, worst thing that's ever happened to me. And the best, funny enough how that works out, isn't it? And this is sort of hinting at what's to come. You can see my mind's already dishevelled. It's coming up with all manner of things to make sense out of how my body's feeling. But I am also choosing to be with it over and over again. One of the big things about going to the forest for me was I will be using people, whether it's family, friends, lovers, whatever. I'll be using them to fill a hole that I'm unwilling to feel. I will never learn how to soothe myself. So then how can I soothe my children or other people who need it? I'll be so inept at even holding space for myself. How could I hold space for others? And I love other people. I don't know if I mentioned my purpose, but it's to learn what alleviates my suffering. You gotta go into fucking suffering to do that. I'm sure it's honourable and it's lovely, but it's bloody hard. But I mean it when I'd say this is my purpose, so that I might show other people how to alleviate their suffering, because we're all one. The heart goes against the lungs, we both die. And then we can all live more peacefully, right? We're not all coming out of survival, because we've got everything we need. We live in paradise, and we just don't know it. And I'm not going to go into the way society's running and all that, that's not what this is about, but for me, I was so determined not to be using people. So like, obviously you can see for the first 3 days, I keep mentioning Jules, because she'd been the friend who had been very good at being there for me just before I went to the forest. But I was determined to not, that wasn't the reason I was going to show her love, or even anybody else like Bobby or anybody. I don't want the reason I go to meet them is because I don't like how I feel and they make me feel a bit better. Because then I'm not really going to them with love, I'm going to them to use them. And I believe, one, I'm strong enough to hold space for my own parts, because nobody knows you like you know you. Nobody knows me like I know me. So if there's one person I should always be able to rely on to show love and understanding, it's me, right? Well, I was very harsh to myself for a long time, which is what I was trained to do, because we attack things we don't like, don't we? Anyway, that was day 3. Thanks for staying. If you stay to the end, I'm just going to have a swig of my sticky willy. All right. So I'm going to keep releasing these once a week. E for Herbals. There's going to be a little advert now for you, just to remind you what they're about. We've got the E for Spray and the E for Drops. I'll do that now because I'm not to literally tell you. But I really appreciate if you're listening to this. I'm not really too bothered about if loads of people or just one person does, but I hope it's been entertaining and insightful for you, and you know me a bit better now. And well, it's nice for me to just get to do it. It's not as horrible to do this as I thought it would be. So yeah, thanks very much for staying. You stay safe, yeah. Peace and love. All right, so I said I'd tell you a little bit about you for Herbals, eh? So the Dream Healer. It's cool, this one. So this one, if you know, you know. We've got the blue lotus flower, which the Egyptians used to love. Lucid dreaming, it also calms the nervous system. You've got mugwort from this land, England, if you're watching from abroad. Bobinsana bark from Peru, and then rose petals to give it a bit of a gentle vibe. And then Bobby the Forager, absolute genius. Imagine Walter White from Breaking Bad, but he's gone into the wellness community instead. And he says we don't put no poison with our medicine, and he's absolutely right. So we use apple cider vinegar, organic apple cider vinegar, and then a little bit of agave. And you have this before you go to sleep. And you like lucid, vivid, restful sleeps. And if you work with it for a while, because some people aren't sensitive to it straight away, it gets real interesting. So yeah, the Dream Healer, if you want to get onto that, it's on the Meditation with Michael store. I'll put a little link for you. And then we've got the Agua de Florida spray. Yeah, man. Again, no poisons, so no alcohol is in this. It's all organic, like witch hazel rather than alcohol and such, and water. And then he's made, Bobby again, Agua de Florida E for spray. So we've got the E for drop, the E for spray. Well, I mean, I can't make you smell it through the camera, can I now? So I'll take my word for it, but it's nice. So if you want one of these, feel free to go down to the store, and we'll sort you right out. You'll be helping out a local business with local people. And you can go into the dream world, which you spend 8 hours a day if you're lucky doing, and then get your aura all nice and cleansed. Alrighty, till next time, peace and love.